The Mesolithic era, a time when the lives of our ancestors radically changed and the great glaciers retreated. Often known as the Middle Stone Age, this era connects the early hunters and gatherers of the Paleolithic with the first farmers of the Neolithic. It is a period in history marked by ingenious individuals adjusting to a rapidly changing world. Today we will explore major cultural and technological events of this era that led to the beginning of the Neolithic. Let's take a dive into the daily lives of our Mesolithic ancestors. The term Mesolithic translates to middle stone, reflecting the period's tools, which are more refined than most simple implements of the Paleolithic, yet not as advanced as the polished stone tools of the Neolithic. Think of it as the bridge connecting the Old Stone Age with the New Stone Age. This era began about 12,000 years ago as enormous glaciers that once blanketed much of the Earth started to melt due to a rise in temperature caused by a change in position towards the Sun. However, the start and end of the Mesolithic period varied across different regions. In some places, it began around 20,000 years ago and concluded between 8,000 and 5,000 years BC. While this might seem like a distant past, archaeologists have recently uncovered detailed insights into how our early ancestors lived during this period. So, which ancestors survived the Paleolithic Ice Age? The main characters of the early Mesolithic era hunted and gathered in small, mobile bands consisting of 20 to 50 people. Their movements were dictated by the availability of food and resources. These early humans were intelligent men and women, commonly known as early Homo sapiens, our direct forebears. Being the only survivors of the Ice Age, how did early humans thrive in the ever-changing environment of the Middle Stone Age? Without grocery stores or freezers, they had to be exceptionally creative and resourceful. Their remarkable tools, which evolved significantly during the Mesolithic era, played a crucial role in their success. Early on, things were relatively simple. Stone flakes were polished to a point, ideal for poking holes in fish or catching delectable grubs. They also created harpoons, which were spears with a unique pointed tip that becomes trapped in its prey, making it difficult for them to escape. Imagine attempting to catch a fish with a stick. These gadgets enabled people to obtain enough food to live and allowed them to adapt and flourish despite the challenges of their surroundings. But something extraordinary occurred in the midst of the Mesolithic era. It was a game changer. With this lighter and more effective tool, hunting became simpler and early humans were able to take down larger animals. These were small, sharp stone blades called a microlith. They were so small that you could fit a handful of them in the palm of your hand. But the true creativity was in how they were used. These microliths were bonded into shafts of wood or bone, resulting in very sharp arrows and spears. The toolkit had become even more amazing by the late Mesolithic era. These developments demonstrated how intelligent the Mesolithic humans were. They were continuously learning and upgrading their talents, adjusting to changing conditions, and devising new methods of life. For example, discovering how to polish stone resulted in axes capable of cutting down trees that aided in the construction of better shelters. These late Mesolithic humans also created specific fishing hooks with barbs, those tiny little spikes that burrow into a fish's jaw and make it difficult to escape. If this idea tickles your brain, subscribe to learn more about the evolution of our ancestors. But their ingenuity doesn't end there. Shockingly, our Mesolithic ancestors had sophisticated carpentry abilities. One groundbreaking finding of this period is the evidence of the first known building, dated to around 9000 BC. Just centuries after the end of the last ice age. Starcar is a Mesolithic archaeologist site in Great Britain that was first discovered in 1947 by a local archaeologist named John Moore. Later, Graham Clark, a lecturer of prehistory at the University of Cambridge, excavated the site and published his findings in 1954. These included rare items like headdresses made from deer skulls, barbed points for spears, and many flint artifacts. The most shocking finding happened after further excavations uncovered the remains of the earliest known house in the UK and a platform made of wood that was proven to have been split and worked. So far, only about 5% of Starcar has been excavated, and it already holds the earliest evidence of carpentry in Europe. Now, while the purpose of this next famous megalithic structure remains unknown, some archaeologists think Mesolithic humans may have been the first to create structures at the Stonehenge site, laying the basis for the latter monument we know today. Even evidence of ceramic work like vessels decorated with geometric patterns, beautiful rocks used as accessories, and sharp stones used as knives were all innovations of this period. Stone art, from the Paleolithic upgraded to beautiful paintings inside caves, filled with detailed paintings of human figures engaging in hunting or rituals and animals such as wolves and bears. But there's one thing our Mesolithic ancestors could not do. Unfortunately, there are no Mesolithic scribbles or cave paintings that say things like, "Great hunt today," or "Going fishing tomorrow, be back at sundown." Consider this. If they were creating these incredible, complicated tools, paintings, and working in groups to hunt and live, they had to be able to communicate with one another. Even though sophisticated languages and writing systems took a long time to develop, it's probable that they possessed an early kind of spoken language, with rudimentary phrases for food, water, and danger. Most likely, they utilized hand signals to communicate, where to search for prey, and created specific noises to warn each other of dangerous predatory animals. Imagine waking up one morning in the vast lands of the Mesolithic and finding a massive elk with antlers larger than a tree limb. The Mesolithic age saw a new wave of fascinating species. Our earliest human forebears coexisted alongside some genuinely incredible species, such as woolly mammoths, massive elephant-like giants with shaggy fur that went extinct during the early Mesolithic period due to environmental changes and human hunting. Cave bears, enormous and strong, inhabited the countryside, and Irish elks, measuring up to 2 meters at the shoulder, could be found roaming the lush forests of northwestern Europe. Creatures like modern lions, reaching up to 3.5 meters in length and weighing up to 300 kilograms, posed a threat to the existence of our species, leaving our predecessors on the menu. Consider a day in the Mesolithic era. An ancestor wakes at dawn, greeted by soft sunlight filtering through the straw ceiling of their hut. The day begins with a short scavenge of wild berries and nuts. Armed with a sharpened spear, they join the group, ready for the hunt. They spend the morning pursuing deer through the forest. In the afternoon, some of the party fish beside roaring rivers with bone hooks, while others collect fruits from trees and edible roots. As the sun sets, they all return to their shelters. They share the day's harvest, cook their meal over an open fire, and prepare their equipment for the next day. Sounds easy, right? But it's not the full reality of it. Surviving in the Mesolithic age required flexibility to shifting climates, as well as expertise in a number of crucial abilities. These semi-nomadic individuals had to deal with shifting temperatures and unpredictable weather patterns, which necessitated seasonal migrations and the building of long-lasting shelters to shield them from the scorching sun and winter winds. This era saw the earliest construction of buildings and settlements, evidence of sedentary ways of life. The development of useful tools from stone, bone, and wood was crucial, since these instruments were used for hunting, fishing, and food preparation. Their nutrition was primarily reliant on the ability to hunt animals and harvest natural plants, with a thorough understanding of animal behavior and plant locations essential for survival. Even more astonishing, this period has given us the first evidence of burials. The bodies of deceased individuals were buried with offerings or valuable personal accessories, suggesting that spiritual ceremonies or rituals began to be practiced. The Mesolithic era was a period of transition in which our ancestors created new technologies, explored new territories, and laid the groundwork for the major changes that would occur during the Neolithic era, like the rise of agriculture, the beginning of animal domestication, and the use of permanent settlements. If you'd like to know more about how our predecessors lived in various primitive eras, be sure to check out our other videos.